All right, guys, we are live. This is session number 1. We're going to check out some very cool stuff with different synthesizers. I'm going to show you guys how to use different virtual instruments and some basic sound design. So this is mainly focused on beginners. So if you don't know anything about sound design and synthesizers, this might be for you. And so I'm also building a new course, designed from the ground up to be for beginners, and that's gonna be ready in just a few weeks. So anyway, I'm super excited here, and let me know in the comments and in the chat what's going on and if you can hear me fine, and we will get started in just a few moments. I'm just waiting for more people to join. So I'm trying to figure out here something about this live stream and see how how the chat is going. So let's see if we can get this to work. Yeah. So there are few things going on here. Not really able to get the chat running correctly. So as usual, always something going on. Yeah. All right. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me fine. Hello, Sagar. So let me know if everything sounds cool. Yeah, and I'll just get things ready. Yeah, Israel is doing okay. I really don't want to go into politics. We're slowly but surely getting our hostage back, and there's a lot of complexity here. So that's really that is really a tragedy. And honestly, I'm just looking very. I'm hopefully gonna be joining one of my own family member who is in kidnapped. So I'm hoping for the best. Honestly, this is really sad times. But at least we're getting through this slowly. Anyway, so sharp. Let's go sharp. Turn into the topic of today. This is pigments, and it's one of my favorites, synthesizers. And again, this session is for the absolute beginners. So I'm going to show you stuff right here in this synthesizer that you can find in any other synthesizer. Thank you, Sagar. And I'm also going to show you Prophet, for example, as an analog, or this is a recreation. It's easy for me to show you. I also have an analog synthesizer right here, and we'll do another session focusing on analog synthesizers, just the real thing, not a plugin. So if you're starting with the concept of sound design and synthesizers, let's go through the basic components the things that you can find in any synthesizer, and I'm going to do it right here in this Prophet synthesizer, and then we'll see the same concept in other synthesizers. And today we'll talk a little bit more about the oscillators, we'll talk a little bit about filters, and about some sound design concepts like envelopes. It's really depending on how much time we have, and during this session, depending on a few things, I'm thinking we'll do like a giveaway. I'm gonna send one of you guys a free plugin, so we'll see that a little later. And I'm here for just about 45 minutes. That's gonna be our span of attention. Let's get started right away. Let's dive into this, and feel free to ask questions and chat, and just engage with me, so I'll know that I'm not all by myself here. So starting with Prophet, which is really a simple synthesizer from the past, we consider we have here few modules. All these modules are circled, so you consider we have oscillator 1, oscillator 2, we have a mixer to mix between them, and then we have also a filter, and we'll talk about that, and we have the amplifier. And the amplifier is connected here with the ADSR envelope, and we'll talk about attack, decay, sustain, and release, and see how everything is connected. So if I'll just play anything, let me know if you can hear this. So this is a sawtooth wave shape, and what I'm going to do is just going to move things around here. You can see this. Hopefully you can see this analyzer here. So you can see all the frequencies that are in play. And if I'll take something else, let's go with this square. So you'll see all the different frequencies that are playing at the same time. And let's jump over to pigments, and again I'll get the basic waveform, and I'm going here into the analog engine, and in the analog engine, and we can see it right here, we have different shapes, right? Different wave shapes, and I can again take this sawtooth, this one, and see what's going on in the analyzer. Yeah, I'll just go to the default. Let's start with the default template here, and we'll see that right here, analog. Right, so you can see, but if I'll get a sine wave, you'll see that we only have one frequency that is playing. I'm gonna play a chord. Right, so for every note we get a peak. So that's how a sine wave works. And if I'll get enough of those sine waves, a lot of them, that will change the sound, and eventually you'll hear something like this. And you can see all these peaks. So that is our that is how our oscillator work, and there are different types of oscillators. That's where sound starts. And you can see, for example, that in pigments we have other types of oscillators. So we have analog with the basic shapes, and we also have things like wavetable. So wavetable is just a way to produce sound. Again, that's the same idea, and you'll see that we have different shapes, right? But you can scan, you can set the position in between. And there are other types, like complex types. Right, let's get something like this. So what's the point of this? So of course you can find a position somewhere, doesn't matter where, but the power, the idea behind wavetable is later when we talk about modulation, later when we want to create evolving sounds. So that is our oscillator, and we'll talk more about oscillators, but I just want to go through some of the ideas here. So I'm going to go back to analog, and we'll get this sound. So most, if not all, synthesizers, subtractive synthesizers, will have also a filter. So here in Pigments, it's really easy, and you'll see that we have this filter right here. And there's so many types. So we have low pass, and we have band pass and high pass, notch, all pass. All these types are essentially do something very similar. They are taking out, they are filtering out some frequencies. They might also boost, might also enhance some frequencies, but overall they are filtering out. So if we'll take, for example, a low pass filter, we are filtering out, and right now it's 500 hertz. It's filtering out everything above 500 hertz. So I can see that also in our analyzer. Let's just get that analyzer, and I'm gonna just close some things here, and we'll get that analyzer. I'll just put it right here on the top. So you can see that now our frequencies are just filtered out, and I can open it up. So that's the job, that's what the filter is doing. But if I'll get something else, like this is a low pass, meaning it lets the low frequencies pass and filters out the high frequencies. I can go the other way. I can go with high pass, meaning I'm letting the high frequencies pass, but filtering out the low frequencies. Right, so many times you'll see that especially in more vintage type of synthesizers like the Prophet, for example, you'll see that we only have this type of filter, just low pass. Right, again, I'll get that sawtooth. So the more the filter is open, in this case, the more rich everything sounds. Right, and now before we even move on, I want to talk quickly about a concept that is very fundamental in sound design and in synthesizers, and you might heard about this, and this is the envelope. So I'm going back into Pigments because it's super easy to understand what is an envelope with this synthesizer. So just imagine that we are now playing something. I'm gonna just go back to our classic low pass filter. We're playing something. Right, so once I press on the keyboard, we immediately hear something, and when I am lifting my fingers from the keyboard, it just stops. Right, it's pretty simple. But if I want to shape how everything sounds over time, that's where the envelope comes in. Now, it's a little bit tricky because you can use envelopes in many different ways, but every synthesizer will have at least one envelope that is connected to the output, to the amplifier, and it is shaping how the overall sound is behaving over time. So, for example, if I'll get this first one, this ENV, this envelope amp, this one, I'm gonna have a longer attack. The attack is how much time, usually in milliseconds, how much time would it take for the sound to reach its maximum value? So if it's 0, it means immediately. Right, that's immediate. But if I'll get this, let's say 500 milliseconds, that's half a second. So it's going to take half a second for the sound to reach its maximum value. So it's like evolving, it's building up. And as long as I'm keeping my finger on the keyboard, it still plays. And you can see that little dot. Let's do something else. I'm going to go with 1 second. 1 second. Yeah, something like this. 1 second. So I hope that you can see that little dot just traveling. And the other part of this device is the release. So we have this release right here, and the release is basically fade out. So how much time would it take for the sound to just fade away? And if we'll get this longer, and the mystery middle, the decay and sustain, are basically controlling what's going on with the sound as long as my fingers is on the keyboard, as long as the note is playing. And what I can do, I don't have to, but what I can do is say, okay, so once I reach the top with the attack, I want to drop into my sustained level. So it just helps me to design the sound, but I don't have to do that. I can have the sustain all the way, meaning I'm just concerned more about the attack and the release. And now what we can do, just for fun, let's add some effects, right? So I'm gonna go and add, for example, a reverb. And we can play with the filter. Hi Ori, thanks for joining. Right, very, very simple. So I can show you the same concept pretty much with the Prophet synthesizer. So we'll go into Prophet, which is very simple. And again, we have the amplifier, but you can see that we have the attack, decay, sustain, release, just the same. So I can have a longer attack. And a longer release. Right, and again, also here, what I can do is I can go into effects and add a reverb, for example. Right, so far what we've done is basically go and explore our oscillators, and we have the filters, and we also have some effects always, and the ADSR, I mean that envelope. But there are some other things that are very common in many synthesizers, and you might heard about this. For example, LFO. So what exactly is an LFO? So LFO is a low frequency oscillator, meaning it is an oscillator, but we don't use it to produce sound. We use it to control something else. We use it to move other things. So it's just an automation for us. What I can do, for example, real quick, I can show you what we can do again with pigments is I can have this automated. So let's do this manually. And we have the cutoff. Yeah, okay, sorry. Right, so this is manual, but I can click this plus here with pigments and say, okay, LFO1, you will be opening and closing. And you can see that this is in sync with the movement of this dot right here. And if I'll just move it faster, you'll see it's just moving faster. And I can definitely show you this with other synthesizers. So for example, Synthmaster 1, which I really love, Very simple, but it sounds great. So you can see here. Let's go right click or click init preset. Again, same concept. I really want to show you guys that all these synthesizers, whatever they look like, they all have the same devices. They have the same concept. So we'll see everything that we talked about so far. We'll see the oscillators, we'll see filters, we'll see envelopes, and we'll see the LFO. Everything is also right here. So in this synthesizer, it's a simple one. You'll see that we have oscillator 1 and we have oscillator 2. So we have 2 oscillators. We also have sub oscillators, which we can use to enhance the sound, but we don't care about them right now. And then we have filter 1 and filter 2. And basically we can route them, and that's a topic for another lesson, to talk about routing and why do we want to route the filters in different ways. But we'll talk about that. So we have a filter, and I can turn it on. And so let's start again with the oscillator. So if I click this, you'll see that we have a drop down here, and I can set this to be a sine wave. Right, and I can again right click and get this to be sawtooth. So I turned off the filter for now. But we also have waveforms, different waveforms, but we also have wave tables. So I can go additive, analog. Let's go with this one. And you'll see. Now, it's not a good example. Let's get something else. I'll go with the machine baseline, this one. So it doesn't look much, right? But I have an index here, and you can see how I can scan this. And again, the same idea of envelope is something that you can use to shape the sound over time. So right now, again, I play something, it plays, I take my fingers from the keyboard, it stops. And here we have 4 envelopes. We have mod envelope 1, mod envelope 2, we have amp envelope 1 and amp envelope 2. And the amp envelope, these are the envelopes that actually controls how the sound of the overall synthesizer work, or at least one of them is connected to oscillator 1 and the other to oscillator 2. But let's see how they work. So I can have a longer release. Sorry, here. And if I'll take it all the way down, it stops immediately. And by the way, what I can do, I can create like a pluck sound. And I can enhance this with a little bit of reverb. So again, in the middle here, we have some effects, and I can turn on the reverb. Right. Anyway, let's go back to our business here, and you'll see that we have this type of shape. And we can again see that we have a filter. So like the other 2 synthesizers, we have oscillators, different types of oscillators. They will make different sounds. And we have this filter here, and we have different types. So that can be ladder, which is a recreation of an analog synthesizer. Diode, so each one will just sound a little bit different, but I can have a low pass 24, which means that we are letting the low frequencies pass and we are filtering out the high frequencies. And the cutoff is where I'm cutting off, the point where we are just cutting away some of the frequencies. And you can see it here in the analyzer, okay? And again, I can use the LFO, right? So also here we have the same concept. So what I can do is I can use this LFO. Now, in this synthesizer, we already have an LFO connected here. And you can see it right here. So we have two LFOs that can be, it's either 1 or 2. And I'm using LFO 1 connected to our filter. And you can see that little dot right here, just moving, back and forth. And I can have this run faster. Right, so that's the idea here. So again, the same concept you can find with many other synthesizers. And just before we continue, and what I want to do now is I want to break down some presets. I want to show you some presets and explain what's going on with them. So just before that, I really wanted to say that you are super welcome to subscribe to the channel and also visit my plugins shop, myaudio.studio. If you are not aware of this, I'm working with a lot of companies as a distributor, dealer, reseller, and you can buy these plugins directly from me and support the channel. There are many deals running right now, and there are even free stuff here. And if you want to support what I do, for example, you can purchase this preset bank right now in pre-sale. This is a preset bank for pigments, only $5. But for a very limited time, you can get it also for free. But I'm going to remove that option very soon. And so that's just a way to support the channel. Of course, you can always send thanks in YouTube and watch my videos and just comment below them. That's going to be great. So anyway, again, myaudio.com, and there are many deals running right now. And so let's see what else we have. So I wanted to show you also Diva. And we'll talk about Diva in some other video. Maybe we'll do a dedicated video just to explore specific synthesizers. We'll do a dedicated session just on Diva, dedicated session just on Pigment, and so on. And so we'll talk about that. But I wanted to show you just a few presets, and we'll talk about them. So I'm going to get a preset from my own bank, Space Trip, and let's get this first one. Right, and we can explore another one. so there are many different sounds here. We can try one of those flyover, for example. Okay, I like this one. So let's see what's going on here. So here we have two analog engines, and in each one I have different types or different oscillator running. So as you can see in Pigments, we have the analog engine, and in this analog engine I have three different oscillators running at the same time. And in the second engine, again, I have some more, but they are automated, and we'll talk about that. And so I can just remove that. Let's just get that out of the way. So we have all these three, and the amp envelope, what you see here on the bottom left, you see that we have a slow attack and then a slow release. But what you also see is you see the cutoff right here. This is the cutoff, and you can see that as I play, the cutoff is moving. You see that the filter is opening up as I play. So this is a very basic concept. If I'll click this plus, it will let us know what's going on. So I'm going to click the plus, and we can see that the same envelope that controls the overall sound, the volume of the sound, is also controlling the filter. This is what's going on here. And so the attack is opening up the filter, and the release is closing it. And I want to show you this idea. So I'm going again back to just the default preset, and you can do this in any synthesizer. Any synthesizer will do this. We'll go into analog. This is the sound that we have, right? And I'm going to set the cutoff somewhere here, like, I don't know, let's say 200 Hertz. And I'm going to get our envelope in shape. So it's gonna take a little bit of time to open up, the sound, and then the same amount probably for the release. And we can even have more voices. That's another concept that we have. So we have this unison, more voices just playing together with a little bit of detuning. Right, but again, I wanted to have this filter to open up as I play. So I'm gonna hit this plus here and assign the envelope here. And that can be 50%, 0.5. And you can see that everything aligns. Both the volume of the sound is behaving in relation to the envelope, and the filter is opening up in the same way. And if I add just a bit of reverb, okay, let's go and add some reverb. Now, another concept which is really useful is using the resonance with the filter. So what is the resonance? That's a little bump that you see right here. That's the little bump that is just around the cutoff point. And as we scan, as we open the filter, that will create some resonance sounds, and you might recognize that sound. Very cool. And if we'll play a little bit with the envelope, we can do something like this. Right, and that was very, very cool sound, but very, very easy to create. Right, and in more advanced situations, we will use more sounds, more oscillators together, and each one will do different things. Each one will play something else. Each one will be manipulated differently. So for example, what I can do, I can replace this analog type of oscillator with a wavetable and have this like a sine wave, and maybe change this to let's go with this one. And I can also have this react and work with the envelope. Let's try something else. Now, if we really want to have some fun, we can change the type of the filter. So again, sound goes from the oscillator into the filter. Everything is shaped with the envelopes. So what I can do is I can have this formant. So this is a special type of filter that mimics the sound of the human voice. And again, I can manipulate that, and I can click this plus here and have this also react to the LFO. If you remember, the LFO is a low frequency oscillator that just keep repeating, and you can see this right here with the formant. But again, this is pigments, and it's really easy to do stuff with pigments. What we can do is I can show you, for example, massive or vital. Let's go with vital. Again, this is lesson number 1, so we're not going very deep. Now, vital is a free synthesizer. You can get this one for free. So go ahead and get it. It's really great. And this is the init preset. Let me try and figure out how to initialize preset. Yeah. Okay, so this is the init preset. And again, you can see this is all the synthesizers will have a sawtooth type of init preset. So I can show you this in the oscilloscope. And you can see it right here. I hope I'm not covering this in any way. So you can see it right here. Right? So again here, what we can do is we can use this envelope to shape how everything sounds over time. And again, I can turn on the filter. right? And what I can do is I can have LFO. We have LFO, so I'm gonna get this LFO and drop it right here on top of the filter. Same idea. And this is the tempo. It can be faster. But this is a little bit different type of LFO. So we're not going to get into this, but this is a sort of a function or multi-point. Yeah, I can play with that. Maybe it's too fast. And we can have this sync and so on. So there are a few things you can do here, and we can again go into the effects, turn on the reverb. And we can go back to the voice here, remove that bump around the cutoff point, which is the resonance. And that is vital, and there are so many things you can do here. Right, simple sound. So how do they do that? So we can go and see that we have different oscillators running at the same time. We have different types of filters. And then we have this envelope, which you can see it's very sharp. But it's always also changing depending on where you're playing. So there's a lot of things going on, but it's beyond this session. So I promised that we'll do a giveaway, and we'll do that right now. So be prepared to for the giveaway. So I'm going to write down a number. Yeah, I'm going to write down a number between 1 and 100. And if you get close to that number, I mean, the closer you are to that number, you will be the winner. How about that? So let's see who wins this mystery plugin. I'm going to get you something nice. So I'm thinking about a number. Okay, guess away. So what number are you thinking? Let me know in the chat. Come on, guys. Let's see who wins something here. All right. Do we have any guesses? Okay. Okay, we have Bear Gone Fishing 35. All right. Who else want to try? Okay, if you just guess a number which is close enough to what I was thinking of, my number, you're gonna get a free plugin for sure. And in the meantime, I'll just again mention you are super welcome to support this channel with a thanks. Okay, you can show your support here in the chat. You can show your support below any of my videos. I have almost 1,000 videos on plugins and virtual instruments. What do you mean default? All right. Yeah. So we have a winner. I see that only one person is playing here. All right, Bear. Please contact me through my Facebook. I'm going to give you my Facebook and I'm going to send you something really cool. We'll talk about this. So this is my Facebook. And I was thinking 19. That's my number. I hope you can see that. That's 19. Yeah, you are the only one, so you are the winner. So we have a winner, Bear Gone Fishing. That's really, really cool. All right, and we are basically ending this session. I'm going to do another session later this week, probably in a couple of days. So keep an eye on the channel. Keep an eye on my Facebook page. And I'll see you guys very soon. So Bear, please send me your email. Just get in touch with me. I'll send you something really, really cool. And that is it for now. So that was sort of first meeting, just getting to know synthesizers for beginners. And it was kind of all over the place. But in the next meeting, we will do some more focused work with the oscillators and with the filters, and we'll create some very interesting sounds together. So, and it doesn't matter which synthesizer you have or use, you can definitely use Vital if you don't have anything, but let me know in the comments what is your go-to synthesizer, or which synthesizers would you like to maybe focus on. And we can talk about pigments. We can talk about all kinds of different recreation of classic synthesizers like the Prophet, or maybe something else. Even it can be CS 80, for example, or anything like that. It can be Diva. Right, it can be Massive by Native Instruments. Or maybe Retrolog by, I mean, that comes with Cubase. And that is it. So thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next meetings. Bye-bye.